The National Productivity Day is observed today annually on 12th of February in India, and it is to generate awareness about importance of productivity in achieving economic growth and sustainability under the guidance of National Productivity Council, the NPC. Now, this day raises awareness that productivity is not just about increasing output. It is a more comprehensive concept that considers human resource development and quality of work. But in an era where artificial intelligence is transforming industries, it's important to integrate AI to enhance productivity, streamline processes, and reduce human intervention. It is important for businesses, individuals to adopt smart technology, upskill themselves, and focus on data-driven decision making amid all the developments in artificial intelligence space. So how is productivity defined today in the AI world, and how should you effectively use tech to be more productive? Let's talk about all of that. Joining us is Kartik Narayan, CEO, Staffing, Teamlease Services. Kartik, good to have you back on the show. I think productivity is one topic that gets every person working in corporate India talking. What is productivity? How do you define productivity? I think we can now say for sure it's no more about working long hours. That is not what productivity is. It's not about more output in the 9 hours you clock in. It's about how much you can deliver in an hour that you spend in office.
Good morning, Shweta. And absolutely, I think you are spot on. I think productivity largely refers to, the amount of output which can progressively increase upon or improve, with a given set of input. And I think it's a really important aspect because from an India perspective, really the question amongst many questions, if you really see it, I think the question which is asked is saying, where are the jobs? And I'll tell you, I don't think so India has as much as an unemployment problem, as much as a lack of skills problem. And if you really look at, lack of skills, then it comes to lack of wages. And you really look at lack of wages, then it really boils down to lack of productivity. So all of that is really, linked amongst many things. And I think it's incredibly important for India Incorporated and for India in itself to kind of focus on productivity as an aspect. Because, I mean, let's face it, we have 65% of our population, which is less than, 35 years of age. And, every year there are 12 million, youth who are joining the workforce. So I think amongst many things, not just, basic education skilling, which is going to be important, but to be able to really make them productive is going to be the single most important, agenda in front of everybody.
Okay. And, since we are talking about AI a lot these days, I have to ask you, how do you really, develop those critical skills today in wake of the AI, artificial intelligence developments that we have seen today? What are the key skills one would require to be more employable today in light of all the AI developments vis-a-vis about a year ago?
I think there are multiple streams to this. Obviously the one which has completely exploded is the B2C, I would say, use of AI, which is at an individual level. Today, I think there are tools which are available to kind of improve your productivity as an individual level to a significant scale, largely around being able to, moderate the content, your ability to kind of research. Earlier, there would be a lot of discrete data which normal search engines would, you can kind of search it. But now it all kind of does a lot more contextual search, which kind of takes place, right? So I think at an individual level, your awareness and ability to be able to query some of these, chat GPT engines kind of leads to significant improvement in your own productivity. Of course, I think the important part will be, going forward, the difference between, one individual, another individual, or one employee, and another will depend on your degree of AI literacy that you have. So I think that is one aspect that, individuals can possibly look at focusing on what is that you can do to improve. I think companies also similarly would need to focus on saying, how do they raise productivity by being able to integrate some of these newer technologies into their processes? For example, I think customer service, while still will be requiring humans to kind of speak to customers over a period of time, that will get phased away. A lot of emails which are coming inside companies and responses going out will have significant AI components which will do a very high degree of auto reply, right? So I think there is huge opportunity for both optimization and improving productivity, both at an individual level, which is anyway kind of taken off on its own, and also for companies which will try to now, scale up and, catch up with, everybody else who's now utilizing AI to kind of significantly raise their productivity.
Okay, I think one of the conversations would also be, how to really bridge the gap between technical and non-technical roles going forward, Kartik, because as you mentioned, it's not so much about not having enough jobs in India as opposed to not having the right kind of skills which make one employable. In times like these, technical roles seem to be vanishing. We see lower level, entry level jobs seem to be sort of vanishing. And a lot has got to do, of course, with how AI is being implemented and being adopted, at least in IT services and various other technical roles. How does one really find a balance on where AI can be utilized when it comes to, technical and non-technical roles? Because let's accept it. A lot of people now are of the belief that as far as technical roles is concerned, well, that can be filled in by maybe if 10 people were doing it, 1 or 2 people can do it. But non-technical roles, while managerial roles where you've got to be more creative, which is where AI perhaps is not there just as yet. So non-technical roles is perhaps where we could see some growth going forward.
No, you're right, Shweta. I think technical roles. I think the fear is understandable. I think a lot of basic level software testing or even software development, for that matter, is definitely going to go out of fashion with more improved AI engines coming into place. However, non-technical roles as well are getting a significant productivity boost. I mean, if you look at marketing and sales team, I think their ability to kind of craft content or even shape up brands becomes significantly improved with the use of AI engines. If you look at in the business we are in, which is recruitment, I think our ability to screen resumes or shortlist resumes has a significant force multiplier. What would possibly require hours of man hours to kind of search through resumes would now possibly be done by advanced engines which can look at and really be able to contextualize who's the right fit for the job. So even for non-technical jobs, I would say this is going to be a significant, booster. Of course, there are, considerations around bias and ethical use of AI, which will kind of come into play, which companies have to kind of work around. But it would be incorrect to say that only the technical roles would be there. Again, I think the other aspect of it is also, Shweta, even for technical roles, I don't think so. What is going to go away is largely the mundane work, right? I think there will be a tremendous opportunity for many to be able to upscale and utilize it for other kind of more productive jobs in that.
All right, and before I let you go, I have to ask you, I think a lot of conversation, of course, about how far is AI good to be used on a daily basis. And when we talk about the kind of work that I do as a journalist, I think it gets very tricky. The ethical use of AI. Can I use AI to perhaps write copies for me or write an introduction where I introduce you as a guest on my show? There's no clarity on ethical use of AI just as yet. Where do we draw the lines? Where do companies draw the lines in absence of a guiding framework? We don't have a guiding framework just as yet, Kartik. And so where should we draw a line?
No, Shweta, you are right. I think, this is extremely fast evolving. I mean, in your previous segment where you were speaking about the AI summit as well, I think one of the large aspects which is being debated globally is to kind of create a framework for ethical usage, right? I mean, there is something real called AI disillusionment. It might start imagining some answers and being able to give you absolutely inaccurate information, which you might then utilize it to your embarrassment. So I think first things first is, I think individual companies and I think even corporations will have to come and draw a framework as to where you can utilize it to be able to productively improve your work output.
Right.
But anything which, for example, will utilize creativity, I think will still is going to be in demand. You can choose AI to kind of come up with content, etc., and all that, but then on the same side there are enough tools which are not going to call you out saying this the output which you have put across is not exactly the right output. So I think the system will evolve to have a check and balance on its own. For now, I think everybody should utilize it for what it is, a huge productivity booster, at an individual level. But companies will need to draw framework and lines as to, where you should not be impersonating, content which is clearly not yours.
Okay. And quickly, in less than 30 seconds, how do I use AI to be more productive?
I think many ways. I think clearly being able to research. I mean, there are AI engines if you want to learn about a topic. For example, if I have to take a name, Perplexity, you put across data you want to learn on a topic, you will get enough information right now and contextual information. So I think that's used. A second thing is you want to send out a mail and you want to be slightly softer in your tonality. Well, you can give the right prompts to make sure if you have the content, it gives you the softer version of the mail that you want to send across to a colleague or to a friend or whatever that might be.
So if I have to polish my language, if I have to research, I think AI can be put to good use to increase my productivity. We are, of course, discussing all of that on the National Productivity Day, which is today. Kartik Narayan, and thank you very much for taking time out. Always a pleasure speaking to you on the show.
Thank you, Shweta.